everybody, and welcome to Molar Moments with Tufts ASDA. I'm your host, Bryce Pitts, and today we're here with our Yankee debaters. They're the team from Tufts who were our champions. So if you want to introduce yourselves, and then we'll get started.
Okay, I'm Kweisi, D27, and yeah, I was a debater, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, my name's Jorge, also a D27 and the other debater.
I'm Isabel Terrasa. I'm a D27 and I had the gift of being a coach this year.
My name is Lubitz. I am a D26 and I also had the honor of being a coach to these amazing debaters this year as well too.
Well, awesome. I just want to go ahead and say thank you all for coming on my show today. It's really an honor to be able to talk to not only my classmates, but, my colleagues in the dental field and talk to you guys about how this experience has shaped you and ways that we can inspire others to advocate for our profession and things that if they're interested in debate or if they're interested in getting more involved in organized dentistry, ways that they can do that. So the first question I have is actually for my debaters. So how did you prepare for the debate? Were there any specific strategies or research methods that you found helpful?
So I would say I had a really kind of unconventional way of preparing. My girlfriend is very big on mock trial for her stuff with law school.
Okay.
And she kind of helped me structure my argument. And then I went through where I would pull up different search strings when I was going through my search strings for research. And after that, I was just using that to help build off of.
Awesome. What about you, Jorge?
So for me, one of the biggest helps, and I'm sure she'll touch on it today, but Isabel and Anna's kind of just mentorship. Isabel kind of started us off with sending some basics about debate, and full transparency, I had never done anything with debate before, so this all felt very new. And that was kind of one of the reasons I also volunteered for it. I just kind of wanted that new experience, just to learn something a little bit different that I had never tried before. And just having a good path to success to follow was really helpful, and then I felt I was able to just apply the skills that I had to that plan, and it really helped show what we could do at the end.
I actually think I jumped the gun a little bit because I was just so interested in asking you questions. But can you tell our listeners what the Yankee debate even is? Because people are probably sitting there being like, oh, this is great, but I don't know what we're talking about. So can you tell our listeners just a little bit about what you actually did and what the purpose was?
Absolutely. So every year we have the Yankee Dental Conference here in Boston. Really fun conference, and one of the aspects that they host every year is a debate between the dental schools in the district. So we have BU, Tufts, Harvard, University of Connecticut, and University of New England, and they usually bring in a pre-dental group, and they'll set up essentially a debate with different questions for each team to prepare for, and you're kind of set up to prepare the affirmative side of it and the opposing side, and you go into that day not knowing which side you're going to debate, so you're waiting for the coin toss. So we had a really fun, interesting question this year regarding patient treatment and whether it was ethical to deny treatment based on certain factors such as age or some chronic conditions. So we spent a lot of time kind of connecting some of the things we've learned in school as well as research, and really delving into all the ins and outs of both sides of the argument. So it was a lot of fun.
And this was put on by ASDA District 1, correct?
Massachusetts Dental Society and ASDA District 1.
Okay. Well, that's great that we have our Mass Dental Society also involved with our school and wanting us to get involved early in our dental careers. So that's good that they put this on. And there was a lot of people that came out. I was there, and there was a big crowd from a lot of different schools. It wasn't just the Boston schools. There was representation, people from UConn and people from UNE as well. So that was great. So for our coaches, we heard about their strategies. So can you share some of the strategies or approaches that you use to guide your team through their preparation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a really good opportunity to find your own skills. And one of the ways that I pride myself in leading is leading loosely, where, here are the tools and here are the suggestions that I can give you. But whatever you do with that, that's up to you.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the boys, they really put their own voice into it. I was really diligent in not tweaking the verbiage of their debates, their counter arguments, all that kind of stuff. I wanted it to feel natural for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, here or there, structure, grammar, anything like that, sure, I can help them with. But the whole point was for them to find their voice. And I approached that in everything that I did, where I just wanted to cultivate who they were, what they believed, and how they could deliver that to an audience at large.
Sure. Awesome. What about you, Anna?
Yeah, no, I'll chime in too. So first of all, it was a true honor having to serve on the team and help guide, Jorge and Kweisi and serve alongside Isabel as a co-debater. Having been a previous debater in 2023 and 2024, it was a great experience to share the strategies that worked for me personally when I debated and help share my approaches with helping the debaters here today prepare for their moment on stage.
Yeah.
Some strategies and approaches that I shared involved having the data to back up any claims and refer to sources in their opening and closing statements. I know we had several Zoom sessions which were very productive, so we reviewed the arguments, and Isabel and I each shared our own views on how certain phrases were written, but like Isabel said, we're very hands-off because sometimes your written voice is different than your debater voice, so that's something that we want to bring to light for our debaters as well. But overall, they did an amazing job, and I could not be prouder of their hard work and dedication. Again, congratulations to you both. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm also very proud of Isabel and myself, too, in being in this new role as coaches, because last year we were the debaters. So it truly takes a team effort and determination in anything that you do to achieve a shared goal.
Awesome. Well, I know that you had to do some research to kind of learn more about this topic, maybe things that you didn't know. So is there anything that specifically you didn't know about this topic that you learned while researching?
So I feel like what we go over in our first year is the ethical aspect of dentistry with our ethics course, at least at Tufts.
Mm-hmm.
In saying that, I did not go into the ADA handbook as much our first year. So I felt like in this, I kind of learned it more so from an actual viewpoint of I understand more of why things are written the way they are now,
Mm-hmm.
and the aspect of that. But I think that was pretty much the biggest thing I learned. I think also in looking at the opposing side, just seeing where the articles could be pulled from and just the viewpoint that could be putting myself in their shoes, that kind of was a learning moment, because it's I kind of had my position firm, but it was okay, what if I didn't?
Right.
Let's see, and let's actually not be just so steadfast in this.
Mm-hmm. It really makes you think of both sides, and really kind of dive in both sides, why there's pros, why there's cons, and also why the ADA handbook is so crucial to our career. Anything to add, Jorge?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the most interesting things for me about the questions that were posed for the debate is you could really see from both sides why they're right and why they're wrong. And, you kind of leave with a deeper understanding of the issue, but still with the same question, which side or where do you fall, on the debate. And, I went up to some of the judges after and I was like, so what did you guys think? And they kind of made some comments on our arguments, but I was essentially asking them, hey, so what would you do? And they're like, it's the tough part, we, as dental students, we were there, going back and forth on real issues and real thoughts and back and forth that they're having in the field. So I thought that was a really cool, interesting aspect about everything.
Yeah. And obviously you need to present scientific evidence, but we also had that full room of dental students, future colleagues. So how did you as coaches help your students balancing presenting this scientific evidence while also engaging the audience during the debate and using maybe plain language and things that maybe people that were just watching could understand if they weren't in the dental field.
Yeah. I'd love to take on this question, especially considering what was just discussed. They bring up a good point of something that I tried to do subtly, maybe they picked up on. I never told them what I believed, which side I was on, and I also never told them which side I thought was easier to do. To be quite frank, when the coin toss happened, they picked the side that I thought would be harder to do, and then they crushed it.
Yep.
Right? So it's like they have to speak with conviction. I think you bring up a good point in plain language, right? You need to convey your point. And there's a balance between two different things where you can get up there and you can say, like, we astutely assert that. And you can get up there and you can totally fudge it and be like,
Just use a lot of filler words.
Yeah, you can fluff it up. You can put a lot of, like, just craziness in there and try to pass it as being smart. Or you could do it in a way where, like, you are saying exactly what you mean, and it may not be the most robust vocabulary, but you're saying quite literally exactly what you mean. And I think our debaters did that so beautifully. And then another thing, too, I bring it up just because it was probably the funniest part of coaching them, is there's such a temptation when you get up there to lean heavy on what you have in front of you. So in the debate, for the audience, you can bring your laptop up there, so you write everything out, you can reference that. The temptation to just look at it and read off of it is so tough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible, right? Especially, it's intimidating being directly scrutinized in front of an audience, right? It's different than public speaking.
For sure.
So I had them in a room in the library where there's a painting of an old dentist. And I put the timer right beside the painting. And was like, okay, if you want to look at the timer, you got to make eye contact with Dr. whoever this guy is. And I don't know if it worked, but I think it worked.
Okay, so I'm going to have to track down this painting, and we're going to have to figure out who that is. For the next episode, I'm going to say, quick fact, his name is this. And if you find him in the library and you send me an email with this picture and tell me who he is, you know what? Maybe I'll send you a prize in the mail or something. We'll figure it out.
I'll give you a hint. It's on the 5th floor.
5th floor. That's the only hint you're getting. Anything to add to that?
Yes, I would love to. So in helping students like Jorge and Kweisi, balance presenting the scientific evidence and engaging with the audience, I think it's important to convey the data in a very charismatic and practical way too. As you mentioned and Isabel mentioned, plain language is key. You have to know your audience type well, and of course we knew it was dental students, colleagues, MDS representatives, and if you want to make the audience learn about that information that you're sharing, then you are able to capture their attention for your argument. So you really want to be captivated with them. I always like to leave the audience with a question to think about after discussing the evidence, so they can also contemplate with you what's been discussed on stage during the debate. And I think that's exactly what Kweisi and Jorge did during this debate, was capture their attention and make sure that they were on the same page with them.
Awesome. So I know that, the first round went, right? And it was nerve-wracking. We waited. We were like, are we going to make it to the next round? And then we made it, right? So, coaches, how did you help your team manage that stress when they made it to the final round? And they only had a little bit of prep time, right? Like, how many minutes?
Oh, like 10 to 15.
And then everyone was coming up to you in the hallway trying to give their
opinions.
opinions.
That's a funny story, too. If you don't mind, I'll just chime in on this one first. And then, Isabel, you're going to share that story about how you shoot away some students. But, basically, just to give some background. So, once you get to the final round, it's 2 schools. And you're in that crunch time where it's about 10 to 15 minutes. You have to focus. You have to get in that zone. And you have to build your argument from scratch, basically. You have to cite sources, put your own personal twist on things, and make it very argumentative in that sense. So during this process, I know Isabel and I were both helping each debater first ease the combined nervousness and excitement that was in the air, which was amazing, and also maintain the concentration for them, too. I know Isabel went and checked time, and I was checking time on my phone too to make sure that they were still within the limits. Yeah, exactly. And as well to manage stress. And Kweisi was doing some deep breathing meditation, I remember as well. So that was very, very good. Yeah. So
hey, those are good skills.
That comes into play. So Isabel, pass over to you.
Oh man, this is a terrible question because I think I handled stress. I was I was so
She's
nervous.
lying.
I know. I tried to come give you a
It
hug,
was
and you're
so-
like, "Get away! Get away!"
No, you know what? I lament who I am under stress, and I'm a competitive so and I've always been. I mean, like, I was the kid playing Foursquare in 5th grade until the teachers dragged me back in. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, to the folks that came up to us, thank you, and I'm sorry that who you were met with was stressed out me.
That's Stressabelle.
That's stressable.
Aw.
Yeah.
You know? But you know what? The debaters handled it so much better than I think I could have if I were in their shoes. And that's where being a coach was so nice, where I could give them exactly what I could do, and they could take from where my limitations ended and go on from that, where they were the ones who ultimately got on that stage, and they were the ones who won. So,
Yeah.
so proud of them.
And, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, like, when we get thrown in these situations in clinic, when you have to think on your feet and you get stressed and you only have a little bit of time to change your treatment plan or to change your focus, that's something that you learn from this experience that maybe you can translate, you know, next year when we're in the clinic ourselves and when we're practitioners. So I know that a lot of people that came to see the debate, they're now interested in getting involved and maybe doing it next year. So what advice would you as debaters give someone who's preparing or looking to do a similar debate in the future?
So I guess the biggest advice I would give is that research is very important, but I also believe in you can never just sit here and try to read things the way you typed it. I believe in giving everything and, like, interpreting things in your own words allows for a better conveying. And I also think that it comes out a lot more natural when you take what you've written but also look at it and bring into your own perspective of how you would actually answer it. Also, of course, keep it, you know, within the guidelines of time and the realm that you're in. But I do believe, like, making sure that everything that's typed is in your own words helps out so much more. Also, you know, a team also makes everything a lot better. So it's bouncing everything off of coaches and your own partner is another thing. And I feel like utilizing all your resources makes it a whole lot better.
Awesome.
No, I think you made some great points, especially that preparation time where you kind of go through the motions and, you know, not only see flaws in how you're saying things per se, but, you know, catch things in the back and forth about your topic that you're only going to catch them as you're thinking about everything. You know, you got to put that you got to fill yourself with that information, so it's just kind of like bouncing around in your head for you to start seeing things that you wouldn't have seen just reading it once. So, you know, we had, you know, a couple calls, then we met up in person, and it's just like every time we met and talked about it, you know, you think of a new idea of what someone might cross-examine you with or what you might cross-examine back. And in reality, that part, you try to type out some things to have an idea of what you would say, but you really never know what the other side's going to say. So in that moment when it's time, you have, you know, that minute they're talking to process it, and then you have a few seconds to just start gabbing, essentially. So if you haven't taken real thought about anything, you know, you could get caught just kind of, you know, mute and silent and choked up. So I think that time we spent just kind of talking about everything and our ideas for each side made it so that when the day came, you know, I feel like we rarely had any issues with time. We didn't have an issue thinking of something to say in any given moment. We were able to kind of transition back and forth so that we both had a more or less even speaking time, and those are some of the things that we were judged on as well. It wasn't really just a topic, it was, you know, how we went through the debate process. So it was a lot of fun. Would definitely enjoy being a part of it next year to help kind of be part of that team and the coach and the coaching part. But yeah, definitely work together. You know, it was me and Kweisi up there, but, you know, definitely felt like a team win and everything coming together at the right time.
Of course. So, final rounds happened. We're waiting the results. And again, we come out on top. So, congratulations. I am still so proud of all of you. So, now that the experience is over, and it's been a few weeks, thinking back, how do you think that this experience will influence your future career in dentistry?
Oh, I mean, I think that it asked a lot of me. It asked me to be really receptive to how other people learn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way that I would convey things to others isn't necessarily the best way for them to receive it. And I think that that was something that I learned. It was just the power of pivoting.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of the work that we put out of it. I think that acknowledging the ways that others contributed to it will also help me in like a dental team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a four-handed sport, dentistry, so I'm just proud of what we've done and so thankful. Anyone
Good.
who's interested should do it.
Thank you, Isabel.
So
We're all just looking around each other like, who's going next?
no, I'd say pivot is a great word for it. I'm myself like the dental sleep medicine and craniofacial pain. They have like a seminar every Wednesday that they have someone come and speak, and ideally like future I see myself trying to do like TED Talks and such for like different cases.
Awesome.
And I think this just helps with one, public speaking, but it also it helps with criticism and being able to structure, one, take the criticism that has been given, but also structure that criticism into more positive feedback to where you could go ahead and perform to a better level. And I think I'm someone that is, I have a very deep voice, but it's also, I don't speak that loud half the time. So I tend to scare people when I speak louder. So it's like, that's just a big thing about, you know, mic placement and stuff like that. But yeah.
Well, thank you.
I think just regarding dentistry, you know, one thing that's really cool about dentistry is every few years, I feel now especially, you know, something new comes out or new findings, and we're gonna always have to kind of engage in a back and forth with our colleagues, and this kind of just emphasize like how important it is, because if you don't have that back and forth with someone, you can't really understand all the aspects of anything new or any issues we have facing. So just knowing how to like engage colleagues, and obviously debate, it's a little more of a competitive spirit type thing, but you know, once we're out there practicing, you know, dentistry is supposed to be a field that's like we work together, you know, and just kind of always keeping that in mind, and knowing how to navigate those tougher conversations. Because one thing that was also really important for the debate, it wasn't just who's making the better argument, right? It's like professionalism. Are you shaking your teammate's hand? So it's from like the beginning to the end. It's professionalism. It's, you know, camaraderie. It's collaboration to figure out what's the best course for different issues we'll face. So just taking that into the future as practitioners, not just now when we're in school, you know. So.
Thank you, Jorge.
Definitely. I agree with what everyone has said so far. I'm just going to add a little something to that. But I think from my past experience as a debater and now reflecting back also as a coach, will help influence my career by a very positive light. I mean, as Dr. Abdul said as MDS president, he alluded to in his final remarks that there's no right or wrong side. There's always a way to see the perspective from another point of view when sharing thoughts on topic of conversation. I wholeheartedly agree on this, because in life and in a dental career, you need to be able to see both sides pragmatically and decide based on evidence and knowledge a proper plan of action. And that plan of action could be, you know, offering treatment plans to your patients in a dental office, or even as simple as developing a research question in a clinical or lab bench situation. And that's what's so remarkable about dental education overall, is that we can all share thoughts, outcomes, and perspectives, and our knowledge will never stop evolving and growing in the field. So with the skills that I personally learned, I think all of us have learned here in this experience, I know that they'll influence how we communicate with others and also try to understand others who may have different viewpoints. And that's in the most professional, respectful way possible. I know communication is truly key when collaborating with others, and if we can effectively communicate, then we can all work together to achieve a shared goal in the field of dentistry.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I just want to thank you all again for talking to me today and giving me a little insight on what you went through and ways that people can get involved in the future. And so thank you again. It was so great to have all of you.
Tufts on 3?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
Tufts. Again, this is Bryce Fitz, and this has been Molar Moments with Tufts ASDA.
Join advocacy.
Woo!